We're in season two. We're exploring further the landscape of our inner life and personality, trying to into practice some of the things from season one, using dreams as a tool to dig deeper into self-awareness. And so this week, I would encourage folks, if you didn't listen to season one, to maybe listen to the last episode. It's a summary episode that pulls together a lot of the theory and is a great introduction, a great summary and an introduction to season two. But Jim, I thought maybe we could start off with a dream and a person's reflection on their own dream.
Yeah, because
And
again, I think to restate, pardon the interruption, to restate that the real focus is using all of the things we're talking about as a way of increasing self-awareness and self-discovery. And dreams, I think, are an incredible way to do that because it speaks, a third of our lives are sleeping and dreaming and all that
yeah,
good stuff. So,
great point. And it's become such a valuable tool in my journey. Whenever I get stuck, I typically go to dreams and pay more attention to what they might be indicating in my journey as a way to kind of break through the plateau and keep growing. Or regression. Feel like I'm doing the same old things again. And often it's the people that are closest to me that will expose that, intentionally or not. They'll make a
that's
comment.
that's true.
Yeah. So dreams become a way by which I can kind of gently dig into my own stuff and see what might be bringing that about. Though you do, because of what you just said, I want to bring up a conversation that you told me you had with a client who said, it's a lot of work. Why would you do this? And I
I
think
was,
that is a great question.
mhm.
Can I ask, how do you respond to that?
I have no idea.
That's what I thought you would say.
No, it was a genuine question because they're pretty they they resist change a lot just in their natural personality, and so, certainly an understandable question. And I just encouraged this person by saying, I think that the gift we give ourselves, our family, and to be global in it, the world, is to own our own stuff. And the way we do that is by increasing self-awareness and how we are experienced by others and how we are experienced by ourselves. And yes, one of the challenges is when you face that moment where you realize, wow, I am, let's say, I'm a transformer and I need to bring more order to my life. And this just is so difficult to do. It's just so easy to go with the flow and expect other people to kind of fill that in and take care of it when they need to take care of it, but let me off the hook rather than stepping up and saying, wait a minute, I can do this. And so one of my challenges is always to be able to point out or have them point out in their lives when they've had to access energies that have not been easy for them to do. And everybody can, but they almost always say, but it's so difficult. Does it ever get easier? And I think that the more you make peace with the idea that the gift I give myself, my family, my friends, the world at large is owning my stuff, I think that's the encouragement.
Yeah, I think that's great. I, would add, and this is not adding something that's completely new, but it's an extension of what you just said. I would add first that often what leads us to this place that requires work is that my pattern of living works until it doesn't. And it's that place of where it's no longer working. Like I am this way. This is the way I've been my whole journey, but it's no longer working with my family, or it's no longer working at work, or I see
Yep.
that it's no luck working in, I'm no longer satisfied.
Mhm.
And so I think it is one of the reasons you do the work is because old patterns are no longer satisfactory.
Absolutely, and they keep interfering in the same way over and over again, and some people will just get discouraged, and at that point, just kinda give in and say, "That's kinda who I am," and they let down a little bit and just kind of live the rest of their life out like that, rather than what I would say encouraging, and for lack of a better phrase, it's like, how do you die well? Well, I think that's how you maybe die well sounds kinda morbid, but how you leave this part of life more effectively is by doing the work.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, Here's one of the roadblocks that comes in regard to digging deeper and bringing about change is when things are going well. I have an absolutely wonderful couple with whom I work that I challenged and I said, "You're giving away a part of yourself to your partner in that you have this system that works well, but you are depending on your partner for those parts of you that are completely undeveloped." And the reaction is, "But it's working." Okay, great. And if that's satisfactory, fine. But you're leaving a part of you undeveloped. And ultimately, from my perspective, you, though you may be grateful for the fact that your partner handles that, it's difficult to fully appreciate what your partner does if you don't try and dig in yourself and find that part in you that you've allowed to be projected onto your partner over and over again.
Right, that's great. Yep.
So I can see why you wouldn't want to mess up something that's going well, other than to raise your awareness that when it doesn't go well, you might come back to these moments and go, yeah, I have surrendered this part of me and I've left my partner holding all the weight of this in our relationship. So, yeah, it's raised awareness, but timing is a big deal as to whether or not you want to do the work or
Mhm.
not.
That's very true. Yep.
Yeah.
That's good.
I think that you've probably in your long journey of practice come across this far more than I have, but you hate for somebody to have to hit the crisis point before they consider change because that is so painful.
Mhm. And that's why I will reframe that, and unfortunately, we'll say it takes a trauma to get our attention enough to address that pattern that over and over again causes us pain, but we minimize it until we have a really big trauma, whether that's a job loss or a divorce or, something like that. And that's why I will say a trauma is devastating, but it's also a doorway through a better life if we take it that way.
Yeah. Yeah. But it
Or
would be nice to invite
it can't
people.
yeah, it can be a doorway. I shouldn't make it so blanket, so.
Yeah. It'd be nice if people had the foresight to walk that path before they had to unlock the trauma door to get there.
We humans have a limited insight and awareness sometimes with that,
Yeah.
so.
Very true. So let me read the dream of somebody who actually did work on the dream that relates, I think, directly to what we've been talking about all
Okay,
along.
cool.
And you can certainly ask whatever questions you want, but I'd love for you to just expand on this person's reflections and help them dig deeper.
Okay.
So it begins this way. This individual came in with three different dreams. The second one was that the person was in a Jerry Seinfeld episode, which is always entertaining.
Has this person been watching lots of shorts on, like, YouTube or
Yeah,
Instagram?
probably so.
Yeah.
Just residue from previous days. But this is dream three of the night. I am in a circle of adults. We are all seated. I asked a question of a young woman across the circle. I told her that I respected how she thought, and I wondered what her position was on using personal finances in relationship to social concerns that she had, including such things as environmental care, social justice, those kinds of things. She stood up, walked over to me, and faced me. She was about to respond, and I woke up. I was disappointed because I wanted to hear what she had to say. It
Hmm.
occurred to me that I could try to recreate the scene in my imagination and ask her what she was going to say. So I did that. And in so doing, I faded into a dream state again. And in the continuation of this dream, a figure like Rachel Maddow entered the circle. The original woman was back in her seat, and the Rachel figure walked toward her. I could only see her from the back. And then the dream ended again. So now this is the reflection of the person.
Mhm.
These two were very different feminine energies to me. One was much more reserved, kind of like a person I know by the name of Joy, and the other was much more vocal and direct, like the Rachel Maddow figure.
Mhm.
Yet there were no words spoken by either. I still live in that space where I want the feminine to provide explanations, not intuition.
This is the reflection of the person who dreamed this.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Oh, okay.
So
Hmm.
I want the feminine, and I think
Yeah.
that he
What is
is
a
referring both to the feminine people in his life, but also the feminine side of who he is. I want them to provide explanations, not intuition, where I want logic, not feeling, where I want to understand something, but not necessarily have to live it. I beat my feminine side up with expectations that don't fit the feminine way of being. I think I rob it of its joy. I think I steal its actions without paying the price of its uncertainty. And then I beat myself up when it doesn't work. That's my dilemma.
well, it feels like this person's, wanting the feminine to become more masculine.
Exactly is what it sounds like. Yeah.
Yeah. And why is this person so it feels like so hesitant about just the masculine energy?
Oh, interesting. So your viewpoint is not to examine more of the feminine side, but
Yeah,
to ask,
why is he not connecting to the masculine?
because you've already got a masculine side. Why not just tap into it?
Yeah.
Interesting thought.
So plus, okay, so was it Rachel Maddow, the person on the, news was commentator?
Correct.
Okay,
Correct.
so is it okay, so that's how would you describe her energy or the person? I mean, did you ask
The
that
person who had
question?
the dream?
Yeah.
Oh, I would consider that person, my interactions would be that he's static
Okay.
in terms of his energy.
So he's not
Um,
comfortable accessing the strong masculine. He's more comfortable trying to get the feminine to become more masculine. So is that an expression of this person's journey that they have strong feminine energy and they, rather than going into the complete masculine, wants to masculinize the feminine because it's safer? Does that make any sense?
it, it does. And I'm trying to think of the interactions, how I would respond to that. I think he would, I think he would say that,
So this is a he who had the dream.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I think he would probably express his interactions with women as being energizing and appealing, but he is probably, because of his static energy, drawn to the transforming voice.
Okay.
But he keeps trying to force that transforming voice into a spreadsheet.
Okay. So, but listen to look at the dream. The dream is this person is walking towards you, towards the person in the dream,
Yeah.
and then stops, and and the person wakes up.
And they never say anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then this person goes back to sleep, dreams more, and now this Rachel Maddow figure is walking towards the person who was walking towards the person in the dream and stops.
Correct.
So both are feminine
Right.
and they don't follow through with the masculine that finally goes ahead and says it. So the masculine is once again stopped in the expression because it's the feminine walking towards. The feminine is trying to confront, but then they don't confront because it takes masculine energy to confront.
Gotcha. So you don't think the dynamic feminine has a confrontational side?
No, not direct. They're indirect. You say, "Is that your pants? Is that are those your pants on the floor?"
Ah,
They don't say, "Pick up your freaking pants." Masculine does that. The masculine confronts directly. The feminine confronts, but indirectly.
got it. Got it. So the
I mean
prophetic voice
I mean,
is often,
there could be nuances to all that, but I'm just
yeah,
saying.
but the prophetic voice of the feminine side transformer is couched in poetry or symbolism
Yeah,
or,
absolutely. Yeah. And so this person's having the dream. It'd be interesting to know, does he have a hard time accessing the strong masculine confrontive energy that says, "Oh yeah, you talk a big game about covering all these causes, but you don't spend your personal money to support it. Come on, buddy, what's your problem?"
I think that's spot on. Yeah, I think his static energy hesitates to step into that initiator side.
Yeah.
So are you suggesting, in terms of this gentleman's work, that the focus may be he seems to be very aware of his interaction with the feminine side.
Very well, and that's relational, so of course he
Yeah.
would be.
So that then is don't miss what's missing in the dream. What's missing in the
Ab
dream is the initiator.
absolutely true. Yeah.
Yeah. So one of the issues that we often do in dream work is you pay attention to the emotions you're feeling in the dream, but you always ask the question, what's missing in the dream? What didn't
And
show
and
up?
and again, both times you woke up just when the initiator needed to take over, or the person in the dream woke up.
Fascinating. I love how this draws out the possibility for a direction
No,
for
that's fascinating because, personally, I've had dreams, reoccurring dreams of certain images where I could never have a conversation with them. They'd always be turning away from me and always be walking away. And in that light of that, that's an interesting reflection because I would say, looking back on those, I was not connected to this the same way this of your dreamer, the strong masculine that says, "What are you doing? What are you walking away from me for?" I don't confront it.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. Anyway, we're taking a little diversion about my journey, but that's fascinating. I'll have to think more about that because I've had a recurring dream for years, and that makes really sense because I would get angry that I didn't confront and say what I think needed to be said. Yeah.
Yeah.
Similar to that dream.
And life patterns, I mean, you can uncover a life pattern. The next step is really difficult. So, how do you then challenge the life pattern? Because we often want to take, like we go on a journey and we take far too much luggage. When we're going on an inward journey, we take along with us too much of the familiar patterns, and it keeps us from experiencing and engaging what a new pattern has to offer. And it's never going to be about turning your back on all the ways of doing things. It's about integrating new
Yeah.
ways to bring about balance.
Yeah, the way I would describe it is if your bias is feminine energy and you get hurt by something and you really would like to say, F you to somebody.
Mhm.
But if you say that, then you feel guilty, so you don't say it. So then the feminine overrides that natural need to say what you really, really want to say. And the reverse is as well. If I'm strong masculine, I'll just go off and just tell you what I think, and I won't even think about how it affected the relationship.
Yeah.
And I work with so many people that will get frustrated because they'll have a strong response and be so upset and they'll feel horrible guilt and they'll go back and apologize, say, "I'm so sorry." And it's like, yeah, that's like the abuse cycle in that sense. It's like they have both sides, but the one is predominant, and when they express the other one, they feel guilt either way. It's just interesting.
Yeah. And taken to an extreme, there are individuals who feel incredibly guilty for even thinking it.
Abs absolutely true.
Yeah.
And the other extreme is they never consider how their words affect others.
Yeah.
Don't even think about it. It's like, "Well, oh, you were hurt by that? Oh, did I say that? I didn't really say that. Did I say that? Oh, okay. That's fine."
Or the response that is, just grow up. Come on. Are you not an adult? That kind of
Absolutely.
response just minimizes the relational side.
Mhm. And what I find interesting in my work, I always say make the phrase, "We're healthier at work than we are at home because we get a paycheck." And I will say, because of the detachment of my work, I can say things to clients that seem very harsh, but in the moment is very truthful, very honest, and it takes them back. I don't even think about how that might have hurt them. I just think that's good therapy, and if it rang true, that's great. But I don't go home and think, "Oh, man, I'm really sorry." So, like, the next session, I process, "I feel bad. Did I really hurt your feelings last time?" Don't even think about it. But in my personal life, if I do that, I'm more likely to go, "I'm so sorry. Did I hurt you?" Yeah, just interesting.
Yeah, it is. It would also be interesting to look at in a therapeutic or coaching relationship, the whole notion of transference, that if transference has taken place, how that muddies the water of safe space
Absolutely
and,
true.
and how you get concerned about the things that really interrupt good work because it's clouded by that. Did I hurt you? Did I not hurt you? Because of the
Mhm.
transference of emotions, relationship things that take
Or
place.
even in the therapeutic relationship. the transference of the client transfers the good feelings on the therapist, so they aren't as likely to share their unvarnished truth
Right,
because of how the therapist might view them differently.
right.
Mhm.
Yeah. And we often think of transference kind of taking place over time in therapeutic or coaching relationships, but there's also something that happens in the very early stages where you're trying to get a client to remove the mask.
Mhm.
They feel like they have to do something to make the hour be successful as opposed to being honest. And so there's kind of a breaking down of those barriers that often happens in the first couple sessions of therapy or coaching.
Yeah, oftentimes a client will say they'll stop and they'll go, "Okay, I I prob I probably should just tell you the truth, right? That'd probably be better for our work." And I'll go, "Well, yeah, I suppose that would be helpful. Sure."
Yeah. Yeah, those moments when a client goes, "Yeah, I probably ought to fill you in on this." You think? Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah. There may be some information that might be helpful. "Oh, yeah, okay. That'd be great."
Oh my goodness. Again, I've said this before, but one of the reasons I think dreams are such a great tool is that we often share them without thinking about all that they imply, and they typically come with very few defense mechanisms up.
Mhm.
At night, the defense mechanisms drop, the executive functioning of the brain, it goes dormant, and we have dreams that reveal things that are unfiltered. And it becomes wonderful material in that interaction to kind of jumpstart a conversation that would otherwise be hidden or held back.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I love
I
that.
agree.
Um, I think this is probably a great time to bring this to a close. I certainly would encourage our listeners, if you just want to submit a dream and like
That
this
would be
person,
great. That'd
let
be great.
us know something that we can use and discuss, beneficial for you, beneficial for the other listeners. So hopefully we can go down that pathway some more. Jim, is
Cool.
always great to be with you.
Great to be with you, D.
Thanks, Jim. That's it for this episode of Therapy, Coaching, and Dreams. If you're enjoying the podcast, we'd love for you to follow, rate, or share it with someone who might appreciate it as well. Thanks for being here, and until next time, keep growing, stay curious, and take good care of yourself.
Yeah, no, that's good stuff.